We are deep into the best of the Super Juniors and World Tag League from New Japan, and things are shaping up to be very interesting going into the final few nights. And we just have a jumble of people all sitting in tied spots, and no one looks to be ahead of the pack in any meaningful way. So overall, tonight we're going to be covering nights 9 through 12. So we have two Best of the Super Juniors and we have two World Tag League to go after. So what did you think of the nights in this block right here? There were some good matches, I thought, and some very excellent matches that we can be talking about too.
Yeah, there was very good stuff on these cards. The best match from either tournament was on one of these cards. Hiromu and Robbie Eagles, you know what I'm talking about, my god. And getting it deep and just everybody, there's some really, really good, interesting stuff on these cards.
Yeah, so I felt some of the matches, at least one of these nights, I didn't write nearly as much as I normally do. And it was actually the night Robbie Eagles versus Hiromu. That was the only match that I wrote anything really substantial for. The rest of them were just kind of there that night, or at least that's kind of how I felt. But we did have, I thought, some pretty good matches on night 12 for the World Tag League. I thought those were pretty good. Actually, I think the World Tag League has actually shaped up to be pretty decent this year and might be outstripping the Best of the Super Juniors, even though I think the best matches have been Super Juniors. I think overall consistency, the Tag League has been eking it out just a little bit.
I think that the gulf between the two is much less smaller than I expected going into this. I still think that night one, the guys in the tag league saw the juniors and were like, "Oh shit, we're gonna have to work in this tag league this year." Sanada and Shingo against Gorillas of Destiny. Oh, that match ruled. I love that match.
Right, that's one of the ones I'm talking about. I mean, that was a good match. The match Juice Robinson and Finlay versus the Dangerous Techers, that was a good match on that same card. Wasn't as good as the previous match, which was the one you just talked about, but I thought that was a solid match right there. Hanare, I think, is being a standout in this World Tag League, even though he's eaten quite a few of the pins. I think he's stood out a lot. And same thing, Robbie Eagles, even though I believe he is mathematically eliminated at this point by the time we get through the nights that we're covering, he has been a standout in the juniors division, I think. And even Douki, I think, has even stepped up his game a bit as well. So I was worried about how kind of some of the best of the Super Juniors was going to go, because I thought it didn't have as heavy of name recognition as you would hope. Especially last year, we had both Will Ospreay and Shingo Takagi in Best of the Super Juniors, where we don't have a Will Ospreay for the first time in years in the Best of the Super Juniors, and that's usually one of the biggest treats. But Robbie Eagles slotting in, basically taking Will Ospreay's place in that kind of style. I thought that it's a really good addition to the junior league, and I can see him going, if he's going to stick with New Japan long term. I could see him being a player in the junior league.
I had a thought and I lost my train of thought. But yeah, he's amazing. He's just that Hiromu match, man. We let's just get into it so we can start talking about the matches.
All right, cool. So we're going to start off here. Night 9 was November 25th, 2020 in Niigata. And we start off with the match of Tomoaki Honma and Satoshi Kojima versus Gabriel Kidd and Yota Tsuji. Take it away.
It always warms my heart to see Kojima and Nagata beat the piss out of each other. Just want to note that. But yeah, they had a good little tag match, and then Kojima killed the young lion with a lariat and pin. Same one. And then, oh man, I got so excited when I realized that this was the match.
The first match of the night is Hiromu Takahashi versus Yuya Uemura. And wow, I thought this was really good. Uemura looked excellent in this match. He actually starts out strong right away. They move on to the outside. Uemura gives Hiromu a body slam on the floor and then hits a running crossbody off the apron. Commentary was talking about, is he even allowed to do that as a young lion? That is outside of their moveset. So that was pretty good. Back in the ring, they immediately go back outside of the ring. Hiromu finally hits the shotgun drop kick into the barricade on Uemura. Hiromu hits a cloverleaf backstabber. That's what I'm going to call it because that's kind of what it is. He basically has him upside down in a cloverleaf, and when he's kind of flipping it over in position, he flips him up a little bit, gives him a little flick, and then drops him right back down on his knees. Body slam for a 2 count, another cloverleaf backstabber. Hiromu puts on a single leg crab. Uemura makes a comeback, including a really stiff drop kick in the corner. Man, he really lays those drop kicks into the chest. A lot of these guys seem to have a lot of faith in Uemura because most of them do not put their hands up and expect that Uemura is going to get them square in the chest and not rise up and get them in the neck and the face. That's something I noticed. He just lays that thing in. He could basically do a backflip off of their chest if he wanted to. Uemura hits a back suplex for a 2 and transitions into an armbar. Hiromu has to get to the ropes. Forearm that stumbles Hiromu as well. But then he comes back with a thrust kick to the gut. Uemura hits a double overhook suplex and tries for a second. Hiromu escapes, hits a lariat, a falcon arrow for a super close 2 count. And then Hiromu puts on a full crab, cranks it back closer to the lion tamer, and gets the tap out victory. So a little slap in the face there with Hiromu using the full crab to submit the young lion here.
Hiromu appeared impressed, man. He kind of gave him a little nod and talked to him a little bit, and just seemed like he was impressed with the fight he got. Dude, this ruled. Uemura running around and diving all over the place, and the slamming Hiromu on the floor. That was just like the best body slam ever, as far as like impact on a match. A significant body slam.
Mm-hmm.
He got Hiromu's red up, and then Hiromu just started whooping his ass. Oh, it was great. And then Uemura making that comeback. He seems like a guy that like is just going to be a dream to work with because everything he does just looks so effortless and smooth. He's amazing. And the whole fight, but he hit the Kaneki, and he went for the other one, and Hiromu just fought out and drilled him with a lariat. And then the falcon arrow and the crab. But man, this rocked so much.
Yeah, this was an excellent match. Uemura's been looking very good throughout this entire tournament. He's had decently length matches, even with, obviously right here with Hiromu. He went a decent amount of time, over 10 minutes, I think, with Ishimori, who is the current champion in the junior division. So that is a huge pat on the shoulder just to last 10 minutes with the champion. Pretty good from him. And I just realized we have not introduced the show, so I'm going to do that now. You're listening and watching to the That's Wrestling podcast, and if you are listening to this as a podcast, you can head over to YouTube. We do this show live, so you can come hang out and throw your thoughts into the chat, and we could include them into the show if you would like. Also, there's a Discord if you want to come hang out with us. Link is in the show notes and the description. Also, give us a review on your podcast app of choice. If you're watching the YouTube video, you can leave comments down below. Hit that like button. It helps out. I can't wait till YouTube needs A/B testing on their thumbnails. I've been waiting for that for years, and I'm hoping they do it at some point. But we always have really fun thumbnails from our graphics guy. And speaking of graphics guy, we now have some shirts, which I'm wearing right now. And if you're watching the YouTube, you get to see one. It's just a nice "That's Wrestling" with some wrestling boots on it. There's also another one up on the store, and that's at teespring.com/that's wrestling, or store/that's wrestling. So you can go check that out, but I'll get the link down in the description in the show notes for those too if you want to come checking them out. They're going to be at cost until the end of the year, so they're discounted all the way down to cost, so you can get them super cheap for now until we get the rest of our stuff up there, so that'll be good. And tonight I have with me Trae Wisecarver, who we've been speaking to with all week on both New Japan and AEW. I think this is the third show in less than a week that we have done, so.
Yeah, man, our cold opens keep getting longer and longer.
Right?
We just get right into it. Yeah, man, this has been just a lot of week. The semester is winding down. I gotta make my final exam tomorrow, and I gotta do some grading, and then it's over. This was like, so my first semester teaching was in the spring, and then everything just kind of fell apart in the middle of the semester, and things got kind of weird. And my summer classes were just all like, there wasn't really a lecture element in where we were meeting. But this semester was the first time that I did the whole semester through the Zoom chat and everything, and it was just you just finishing up and getting all the way through the class with them for really the first time was, kind of emotional. On top of a great week of wrestling. Been a lot of great wrestling this week.
Yeah, this has felt a little less taxing than the G1. I think because I think the total number of shows is going to be 16 instead of 19. So I think that's helped a little bit in the same amount of time period. So for whatever reason, this one hasn't felt as taxing. And I think the shows have come in about 20 minutes shorter than the G1 shows have, because a lot of those matches went well over 20 minutes. We've had very few matches go over 20 minutes in this series of shows. And in G1, a lot of shows had more than one match go over the 20-minute mark, and a couple of them almost made it to the 30. So I think just the World Tag League and Best of Super Juniors shows have been about 20 minutes to half an hour shorter as well. So I don't know. That's just how I feel.
These have been easy to digest shows.
Yeah. Next up, we'll move on. Second block match of the evening was Douki versus Master Wato, and Douki attacks Wato from behind before the bell. Wato comes back with a drop kick, sending Douki to the outside. Wato goes for a crossbody to the floor, and Douki pulls Yota Tsuji, who is out being a ringside attendant, as the Young Lions do at these shows, and he ends up taking the crossbody to the floor. Douki gets up and sends Wato into the barricade, and he knocks down the ref. Not sure how that's not a DQ. He grabs the pipe, and he actually hits Tenzan, who is out there seconding Wato, and then he hits Wato with the pipe as well. Back in the ring, he hits a double stomp to the stomach of a double stomp to the chest from Wato, not to Wato. And yes, I know, for my dog is growling here. Wato makes a bit of a comeback, dive to the floor, corkscrew uppercut back in the ring. Douki puts on the Italian stretch. Kevin Kelly said, someone on Twitter called it the Douki Choki, and Gino loses his shit laughing, and he can't get it together. I am calling it the Douki Choki from now on, because they called it the Douki Choki in their next match as well. Douki hits a slingshot DDT for 2. Little bit of a back and forth. The ref gets knocked down again. Douki grabs the pipe and hits Wato in the stomach and the head, but he only gets a 2 count. And then Wato hits a head kick, a slam, and then the RPP, and gets the win. So even after getting smacked with a pipe to the head, he still comes back and gets the victory.
Okay, yeah, so Douki jumping Wato before the bell, and the announcers say that, well, the bell hasn't rung yet, so he can't be disqualified. I am almost certain that in any sport, if you attacked your opponent with a weapon before the game, you would be disqualified and fined and suspended.
Not fly in a UFC ring.
Yeah, too much cheating and dumb ref bullshit for me, but yeah, Wato hit the TTD and the RPP for the pin, which I had. I messaged Kevin Kelly on Twitter, and I said, "Can you please point out that the move that Master Wato keeps doing is the TTD?" And he said yes. And then the next match, he called the TTD, but what he called the TTD was the spiral tap, the RPP. So I think we miscommunicated. But yeah, the slam thing is that normally, like, they're the greatest announcers, but if we can get this thing right, because this has been just a tiny little thing that's been annoying me all tournament, is that I don't feel like they have not explained that the move that he's doing now, he beat Uemura with it, he used it as a setup to beat Douki here, is, one of Tenzan's best weapons that he has passed along to his protege. So, yeah, there's my rant about the TTD, and I didn't like this match.
All right, we'll move on to the next one. Quickly, can you drop and reconnect? You're getting a little bit of a pop, so we'll reconnect and I'll move on. We have Ryusuke Taguchi versus Bushi here as the next match, and we have Bushi gives Taguchi a bit of a painful Gucci is what I wrote. Because he just pulls him into the ring post spread eagle. So Taguchi gets a painful Gucci. That's what I wrote.
Sounds like a painful Gucci.
Bushi brings it to Taguchi on the outside and then throws him back into the ring. He rolls through the ring to the outside, and then Bushi gives him a little help for the last few turns to push him out of the ring. He milks the 20 count all the way to 19. Bit of a back and forth. We get more Taguchi bare ass attempts, and then a bare ass bonsai drop. And then I'm going to call it a crack attack instead of a hip attack. And then a springboard hip attack, reverse DDT, and a kick out at 2. Taguchi goes right into the ankle lock from here. Taguchi gives Bushi good vibrations through his ass. And then Taguchi hit... What?
Good vibrations through his ass?
Well, you know how Shinsuke Nakamura does good vibrations, right? With his...
Yes.
Yeah,
I knew what you meant.
Okay. He just used his ass instead of his foot. Taguchi hit a drop kick to the knee. Bushi hits a drop kick coming back, and then hangs Taguchi up on the ropes, hits a hanging DDT on the apron. They exchange some kicks. Taguchi puts on the ankle lock, and Taguchi goes for a Dodon. They exchange some roll-up attempts. Bushi hits a backstabber, and then hits a really, really sloppy MX and gets the win. The sloppiness was on Taguchi's part on taking the move and not Bushi delivering the move, but it was still not pretty.
So at the 5-minute mark, Taguchi's ass was hanging out, and I checked out, and eventually Bushi won with a shitty-looking MX. Those are my notes.
Well, yeah, that pretty much covers it. So, yeah.
What happened?
Yeah, this match was a bit of a cluster. Definitely not anywhere near the top. This is probably at the bottom of the list. But then we had a really cool match. It is Taiji Ishimori versus his former tag team partner before he left Bullet Club, went to Chaos, Robbie Eagles. And this plays out right at the beginning. Ishimori wants to too sweet with Eagles. He wants to, and Robbie kicks his hand away way and then comes at it with a drop kick. Ishimori gets the heat on Eagles for a bit and then works the neck of Eagles. Ishimori starts to make a comeback with a lot of strikes and then a lariat to the back of the head, running knee. Eagle hits a flip dive through the ropes again, this time landing on his feet once again. He was smart and did it towards the entranceway, so he had plenty of runoff, so he didn't crash into the barricade or fly into the stands. Back in the ring, Eagle hits a springboard drop kick to the knee. Ishimori comes back with a shotgun drop kick to the corner. Goes for the double knees. Eagles moves out of the way, but he ends up taking the knee to the arm, basically, and he keeps selling the arm. Ishimori hits a La Mystica right into the yes lock in the middle of the ring. They roll. Eagles fights to the ropes, and Eagles then, once they get back up, hits a bunch of kicks. They counter each other's moves. Eagles puts on the Ron Miller special. Ishimori fights the rope. Eagles hits sliced bread. He goes for the 450, but Ishimori gets his knees up. Hits a shoulder breaker on Eagles. Ishimori goes for a 450 of his own, and he gets his knees up. Back and forth we go. Eagles hits a turbo backpack for 2. Ishimori blocks a sliced bread right into the yes lock. Eagles tries to get out. Ishimori hits a bloody cross and gets the victory. Solid match between the two of them. Former tag team partners turned enemies here. Good one, I thought.
This was very, very good. I loved it because, okay, Ishimori is like the world's tiniest brick shit house.
Yeah.
He's a head shorter than Robbie Eagles, but Eagles is such a great baby face that like you can buy Ishimori as a bully, so that's what they did here. And it was just like, it was so bizarre, but it's great because it was just the dynamic between the two. That's the great thing about New Japan is that everybody wrestles everybody, and you see, if you wonder, well, what would the dynamic between those two wrestling characters be in a match? You're gonna see it, and it's gonna be interesting, and they're gonna make it great. The only thing is that when Eagle did the crazy dive between the top and middle rope, Kevin Kelly called it the tope con hilo the tope con hilo suicida on his fida.
Yes, I forgot. That was pretty funny.
Yeah, this match was very, very good.
Yeah. There's something. I was actually just listening to the AEW Unrestricted show with Wardlow, and he was talking about how he loves being in matches with smaller guys because he can basically allow them to do whatever they want, because if they want to do all these crazy moves, if they want to do a top rope Hurricane Rana to the floor, jump off the top rope, land on him on the floor, he's strong enough to be able to catch them and do all that fun stuff, and then he can throw them around all he wants to. So I always have fun watching when guys are way bigger or mismatched sizes, and it's the styles. You got to figure out a style to work that allows you to get over on a bigger guy if you're a small guy, and Ishimori has that in spades. Obviously, he's one of the smallest in the junior division. I think he's short of the cutoff by, I don't know, 25 kilos maybe at least. I think he weighs in at like 150, 160, and I think the cutoff's 220. So he could be 50, 60 pounds lighter than everybody than the limit for the junior division.
Yeah, and now all I could think about was how much I want to see Wardlow versus Robbie Eagles, because that sounds like it would be awesome.
That would be fun. And I would love to see him against the competitor in this next match, though, as well, against Sho. You'd love to see Wardlow versus Sho. Sho versus El Desperado. El Desperado getting another main event here. They seem to be kind of putting him high up in the division. Obviously, he is one half of the tag champions, but he's probably going to have to drop those belts because his tag partner is injured. ACL tear? I can't remember why.
I knew it was a bad knee injury. I didn't know how bad it was.
Yeah, I can't remember why Kanemaru is out exactly. I know it's an injury, and I don't know if it's that bad or not. But he is carrying both belts with him, so maybe he'll pull a "I'm going to defend these belts by myself," but then go down in flames. I'm guessing. They start off with a bit of a feeling out here until Desperado just stands up straight and pokes him in the eye. They roll. Show works, trying to get an armbar. Desperado tries some submissions as well. Show starts to work Desperado with some strikes. Misses a baseball slide drop kick to the outside. We have a lot of back and forth here. Desperado wraps the knee of Show against the ring post. He grabs the ring bell hammer behind the ref's back, and he also grabs a chair, and when the ref goes to dispose of the chair, Desperado hits Show a couple of times with the ring hammer. See, this is a distraction that I like. He didn't put his hands on the ref, but the ref got distracted because he was taking the chair away, and he turned his back for a second, and then that's when he hit him. And that there is no reason to cause a DQ because he didn't push him down, he didn't manhandle the ref. I'm cool with this one. He puts on an Indian deathlock, and Show gets to the ropes. Show's base is damaged at this point with all the work done to his knee. He manages to get Desperado over with a suplex and work some strikes and kicks. Desperado drop kicks the knee and a couple of dragon screws to it as well. Puts on a numero dos. Show gets to the ropes here. Hits a Kitara Day on Hell for a 2 count, and then Show backdrops Desperado out of a Pinche Loco attempt. Couple of kicks from Show, and then he works a Kimura. Desperado makes it to the ropes to break that up. Show hits a couple of arm breakers, or it's not a submit. What do you call those? Pulling them down across the shoulder, an arm breaker.
Down, yeah.
Because because it's kind of strange because the cross arm breaker is a submission, but an arm breaker is a strike. Anyways, so he does a couple of those across the shoulder. Desperado hits a spine buster, and Show works into a face down armbar. Desperado gets to the ropes, hits a Show hits a backstabber. And then Show hits a last ride power breaker for a 2 count. Show, of course, this doesn't help his knee at all. Show avoids a low blow, hits a flying knee. The ref gets turned around, and Desperado hits a punch to the face and then a Pinche Loco, and he gets the win. So I don't know if the ref needed to be turned around too much for that. It was a closed fist to the face, but okay. I'm okay with that.
See, I like that.
Yeah, I'm okay with it too, because technically it is illegal to close fists, but for whatever reason, Juice Robinson gets away with it for the left hand of God. So,
yeah, I liked the idea of the ROH Pure rules that you get one closed fist, you get one warning. 2 closed fists, you're disqualified. Mm-hmm. I think that's a good rule for pro wrestling, and I really love the way that, like, Minoru Suzuki will do that too. He will throw one close fist the whole match, but he'll place it to where it means so much. And that I really like that. I have the Outlaw Right Hand is what I've named it, because I think, he's a Desperado. I have become such a bigger fan of El Desperado during this tournament. Like, he's been so good. I wrote here that this was probably my favorite match of the tournament so far, which it was until the main event of the next Super Junior show. It was hot straight away, man. Desperado trying to bully Show, and Show just double-legged him, and they started grappling, and it was great. Oh, I love this match, man. When he went for the shock arrow and Desperado countered, and they just headbutted each other and both got knocked loopy, and then the right hand and the Pinche Loco. Man, this was so good. Loved it.
Yeah, this was excellent, and I have to agree with you. Desperado has really moved his way up in my book during this basically ever since the coming back from COVID. He has been doing really good work. I would like to see, it's a little bit more difficult being a masked wrestler to show some personality because you lose a lot of the facial expressions. His mask does lend a little better because he does have open eyes and open mouth and jaw, or mouth and chin, so you can get a little bit more. But I don't know how you're supposed to show as much emotion and whatnot.
I credit a lot of this to the fact that he's been teaming with Kanemaru for a couple of years now, that he's learned heel body language and things like that.
Yeah.
And that's a lot of what has gotten him so much better.
And in this match, the small things really went a long way. Right at the beginning, he just stands up straight and pokes him in the eye. It's like, that's like heel 101 right there. Same thing with that distraction. He grabs the hammer and stuffs it in the back of his trunks to keep it out of view, and grabs a chair, knowing the ref's going to take it away, to turn his back for a minute, and then I can whack him with the hammer. Total heel move right there. It doesn't take me out of it because the ref doesn't look like an idiot for not DQing somebody for hitting them. And then again, right here, he causes the ref just to turn a second, and he can get that close fist punch and then finish it off. So like, he's doing those heel little things to just keep him on that heel side, because if he wrestled clean, his style would lend more towards a babyface. But here, just getting in those little pokes and jabs, just the little bit of things. You always have, guys like Ric Flair, they'd always rake the face at some point, out of desperation to kind of heal things up. And I like those little heel tactics that seem to be a lost art these days.
Yeah, and I talk about, like, I gush over Kanemaru just because he's such that lost art of being a working heel, and I just Desperado learning from that has made him so much more enjoyable.
We move on to night 10 in Kanagawa. I guess that's what I would say.
Fujisawa was the city. I can't remember which prefecture.
Yeah, Kanagawa is what it says on New Japan's website. I'm assuming that's how it's pronounced. Again, Satoshi Kojima, Tomoaki Honma versus Yoda and Yuji Nagata.
They had a good little tag match, and Kojima killed the young lion with a lariat for the pin.
Next match, we had Great Okan and Jeff Cobb versus Toru Yano and Tomohiro Ishii. Cobb and Khan attack before the bell. Yano, of course, removes a turnbuckle pad. He hits Cobb with it, who completely no-sells it. He was like, I don't know why that would cause me to... It's a pad. It's like the softest thing you can hit somebody with, basically. It's like a pillow fighter in the ring or something. Ishii comes in to help, but Cobb gives Ishii and Yano a suplex, a double suplex, basically, at the same time. Khan runs in. He pulls Yano out to the outside. They fight on the outside. Yano gets sent into the barricade. Ishii tries to come to the rescue, but Khan beats him up for his troubles. And then we have Cobb and Khan get the heat on Yano for a while. Ishii gets a tag in and makes some headway against Cobb and Khan. And Cobb hits a standing drop kick to Ishii. They go back and forth. Yano and Cobb both get tagged in. And then we have Khan hitting a bicycle kick to the face, some Mongolian chops, some double teaming on Yano. Both guys hit the gut wrench suplexes. Khan puts on a head and arm choke. I haven't seen that for a little while, or at least not from Khan. Have we seen an head and arm choke from Khan?
I feel like it didn't strike me as anything he hadn't done before. I thought it was. I noted it because I thought it was a good spot, but I didn't.
Yeah, I don't particularly remember him trying to use that submission or anything. Ishii flies in to make the save to break that up. Yano tries a low blow, but it's blocked, and then he pushes Khan into the exposed turnbuckle, tries a couple of roll-ups. Khan puts on the claw. Ishii comes in with a lariat. The ref gets run into, so Yano hits a low blow and rolls up Khan to get the win. So Yano and Tomohiro Ishii pick up their 2 points over Cobb and Khan here, and they are sitting on top of the block.
Somebody came up with a better name than the Great Cobb. Khan on the Cobb.
There you go. That one's pretty funny, actually.
Yano sold and Ishii made the hot tag. Ishii must be hurting because Yano's carrying most of the workload in these matches, which, you know, is a detraction. But Ishii still coming in making the hot tag. We still got, you know, a little flavor of Ishii and Jeff Cobb, which is always awesome. Cobb deadlifted Ishii into a vertical suplex. That ruled. And I thought if that is a new addition, I thought the arm triangle was a good addition to Yano's repertoire.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I like it was that Yano Ishii finish with the Ishii lariat and the Yano low blow and the schoolboy.
Yeah, I thought that was a decent finish, and I'm not sure if Ishii is hurt or not, but it makes sense that they would get the heat on Yano instead of beating the crap out of Ishii. It makes obviously Yano's going to be in the hierarchy of things is the weaker guy, so it makes sense that they get the heat on Yano instead of Ishii.
It does, but Ishii is also a phenomenal seller. So,
right.
You know, I feel like we would have seen him, you know, have more ring time than. And I think didn't Kevin Kelly noted on one of these shows that that Yano has had like the lion's share of the ring time during the tournament?
Yes, I think so.
He talks about
all right, next up we move on to Toa Henare and Hiroshi Tanahashi versus Chase Owens and Bad Luck Fale. Loser of this match is mathematically eliminated, so whoever loses is done with their tournament hopes. And we start off, Tanahashi and Henare work on Chase for a little bit. They put on the wishbone crab, which the following night on night 12, Kevin Kelly was talking about calling it the wishbone. Fale comes in for the save. Chase and Fale get a I don't know what this is. Oh, I wrote head. I don't know why. Get the heat on Henare. Northern Light suplex from Chase on Henare for 2. Tanahashi gets tagged in, takes out Chase, and gives Fale a drop kick to the knee for good measure on the apron. Somersault senton with the full body weight landing on Chase. Chase looked like he got hit by a truck. Like there was usually, you get some of the tailbone hitting the mat also at the same time. No, all of Tanahashi landed on Chase. They exchange a couple strikes. Chase gets a tag to Fale. Tanahashi tries to body slam Fale. He picks him up, but he just falls over and Fale falls right on top of him. Henare gets tagged back in. Tanahashi and Henare work together to suplex Fale. Sling blade leg sweep combo for a 2 count. Chase comes in, hits a couple of dragon screws to Tanahashi, and then Henare takes down Fale with a lariat for 2, and then Fale and Chase come back and end up hitting the grenade launcher on Henare and getting the win. So Tanahashi and Henare are eliminated from the tournament at this point, and Bad Luck Fale and Chase Owens keep their tournament alive at this point.
Yeah, man, Henare is great. Chase is very good. Those are the two, guys have been carrying these teams in the ring for their respective teams. Tanahashi is what Tanahashi is at this stage, and Fale is Fale. I will compliment Fale's performance in this tournament by calling it unintrusive.
Unintrusive. That is a good way to call it. Yeah. I remember, what was it? The G1 of 2017 where he was very intrusive.
Oh, yeah.
Actually, I think he earned himself one of like the only DQs in years during that tournament too. All right. So it was fine, and we have Hiroshi, Tanahashi, and Hanare are eliminated, but you know they still have good matches, and like we said at the top, Hanare has been looking really good in this tournament, even in defeat. So we'll see what things have in store for him going into 2021. I'm curious how this plays out. Right now, he is not aligned to any faction. I'm wondering if he might align himself somewhere, or if he's going to stay kind of the lone wolf type of guy and stick with kind of the I don't know, just all the vets that kind of keep themselves out of that. I don't know.
The home army, the Sekigun, the home guy, is technically a faction. So.
Yeah. It is technically, I guess. There's not like really a leader of it or anything like that you would call a leader.
Tanahashi's the leader.
He's de facto.
He's the leader because he's the ace. That's how it works.
All right. Next up, we have the Dangerous Techers, the current tag champions, Zack Sabre Jr. and Taichi, versus Yujiro, Takahashi, and Evil. Again, Taichi is a dumbass and comes out to the ring by himself before Zack even comes out of the curtain, and he gets beat up, so Zack has to run down.
But Zack came out quick this time, so I kind of thought, and Dangerous Techers ended up getting the jump on Evil and Yujiro, so I thought maybe they did it as bait this time?
Possibly, because actually the next sentence I wrote was, didn't really matter, because they turned it around and took control right away anyways. Zack gets the best of Evil for a bit until a exposed turnbuckle, when he gets thrown into an exposed turnbuckle. Both Zack Sabre Jr. and Taichi get sent into the exposed steel. Bullet Club get the heat on Zack for a while. Zack gets sent into the barricade. Into the timekeeper, gets knocked over twice. More illegal activity from Bullet Club throughout this. Lots of scratching and choking and raking the eyes and all that fun stuff. Zack finally hits a snapmare and then snaps the neck, the twisting neck snap that he does between his feet. He keeps choking everybody. Taichi gets tagged in, he basically chokes everybody. Togo gets involved and holds Taichi's leg in the corner. Zack and Taichi still manage to regain control quickly, though, from that. Yujiro works on Zack a little bit. Togo trips Zack, and Taichi comes in at this point to help. Zack hits a PK that would nail a 60-yard field goal if he was kicking. He laid that bad boy in. He kicked him so hard. The ref gets taken out. Togo comes in with the garrote, chokes Taichi. Evil low blows Zack. Taichi kicks Evil in the nuts. Yujiro comes in with the cane. But in the end, Zack and Taichi come back and hit Zack Mephisto on Yujiro and get the victory. So finally, we have all this shenanigans from the Bullet Club. They still go down in flames. So I was actually like rooting for the Dangerous Techers at this point, even though they're both heels. It's like I hate Evil and Takahashi more.
Yeah, second match in a row where Dangerous Techers were the de facto babyface team, and they're good at it. It's fun. And then there was the ref bump and all the bullshit that's in every damn Evil match, and then they did the finish.
Yeah, so this was a little bit, I think this is one of the better Yujiro Evil matches, but it's not exactly high praise because they seem to be the least entertaining of the matches in the World Tag League.
Their match on the other show was quite fun, but we'll get there.
Yeah. Sanada and Shingo Takagi versus Juice Robinson and David Finlay. They start off with a back and forth, fighting on the outside a little bit. Shingo fights with Finlay. Juice gets knocked off the apron by Shingo, so he's a bit mad, so he just like runs in. But eventually he gets a tag and goes back and forth with Shingo. Lots of striking from those two. Basically, this match was a back and forth. Sanada catches Juice catches Sanada at one point with a power bomb, and finally gets a tag out to Finlay after getting the heat on him for a bit. Shingo gets a tag at that same time. More back and forth. Shingo and Sanada hit a Noshigami cutter combo on Finlay. I think I've said before, this should be a finishing move of some tag team because it's a really cool one. And Juice comes in for the save to save Finlay and trades lariats with Shingo. And then finally, Finlay hits a spear. Hits a superplex. Juice hits a frog splash. Sanada makes the save, and I totally am spacing on who used that finish.
Power and Glory.
There you go, Power and Glory. Sanada has to make the save there. Double flapjack, and they hit the leg sweep dropkick combo to Sanada. Shingo blocks an acid drop from Finlay. They trade some lariats. Finlay gets a really close roll up. And then we have Juice hits left hand of God. Finlay hits the stunner. Juice hits pulp friction. Finlay hits the acid drop and pins Shingo for the victory. I thought this was a really good match between these two teams. These two teams have been great throughout this entire thing.
Yeah, I once again demonstrated my clairvoyance. I wrote here right at the beginning, I predicted this match is going to rule, and it did. Shingo was wrestling Finlay, and I guess Juice was cheering Finlay on, and Shingo looks at Juice and says, "Shut up," and Juice goes, "You shut up." I just laughed. Everybody in this match is great, and this match ruled. And I was in the process of writing, Finlay just pinned the Never Champion, when Finlay looked at the camera and said, "I just pinned the Never Champion."
Yep. So I'm curious where that comes out. If either of these two teams end up winning this tournament or not. It seems we might have a program with Finlay and Shingo. So I'm not too down on that.
That sounds awesome.
Yeah.
I'd sign me up, man.
Hopefully this...
The son of Finlay, of the Fighting Finlay family, competing for the Bad Motherfucker Championship? Yes, give me that.
Yeah, and hopefully this is a little bit of a preview of what we can expect from Finlay going into 2021, and we will get our David Finlay in the G1 next year.
Yes, please.
Next up, we had Guerrillas of Destiny versus Yoshi-Hashi and Hirooki Goto. Yoshi-Hashi and Goto start off strong with working on Tongaloa, and of course that is until Jado gets involved. He beats on Yoshi-Hashi while Tama Tonga is distracting the ref. They basically turn the heat on to Yoshi-Hashi at this point. Yoshi-Hashi, I should note at this point, he is working with his taped shoulder. I'm pretty sure that's a surgically repaired shoulder, right? What?
You went silent for a second.
Oh, okay. It might be, it could also be my dog is squealing too. The Yoshi-Hashi has tape on his shoulder, and that's a repaired shoulder, I believe, correct?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, I think hopefully the tape is just there as a work, and he's not legitimately hurt and needing the tape. And so that goes on. Yoshi-Hashi hits a desperation headhunter to get the tag to Goto, and he takes it to Tongaloa for a while until they both clothesline each other for a double down. Tama Tonga and Yoshi-Hashi get tags, and it looks like Yoshi-Hashi is going to get the upper hand, and until Jado gets involved once again, Goto comes in and he eats a guerrilla warfare, and then they hit Magic Killer on Yoshi-Hashi. Goto has to break that up. Yoshi-Hashi avoids a gun stun from Tama Tonga and has just enough energy to try a last-ditch roll-up pin attempt, and he pulls it out. similar to how I think it was Yo who did this to him last year, near the end of in the fall, and that's what got Sho and Yo a tag team title shot against them. But he falls to the roll up once again, and he is incensed about it.
This was so good, man. They double teamed Yoshi-Hashi into oblivion, and then Tama Tonga went for the gun stun, and Yoshi-Hashi caught him with the cradle and pinned him. And then Yoshi-Hashi got to close the show. It was wonderful. I loved it.
I love that Tama Tonga is like kryptonite is a roll up. Because that's how he's lost like most of his matches in the past year. I was there for the title match between Sho and Yo and Gorillas of Destiny. I
went to G1 in Dallas, and they were the opener in a non-title match.
Oh yeah, I saw the title match, and oh my god! Oh, so you saw the setup for the reason that match happened, right? Was that the match? I don't remember. I didn't remember. No, because that would have been early. That would have been way too early. But anyways, I saw the title match, and Yo rolled up Tama Tonga, and the crowd we was so hot. But then he kicked out. The crowd was so hot for that match. We thought we were actually going to see a title change.
There's a very similar spot in a match in the next show. If we're halfway, I've gotta go to the bathroom before so give me like a minute.
All right, I'll continue on. So we move on to night 11. This is November 29th, 2020 in Tokyo. So this is in Kurikan Hall. And we start off once again with Tomoaki Honma and Satoshi Kojima versus Yuji Nagata. And this time the young lion on the chopping block is Gabriel Kidd. Pretty much a repeat of every single opening match that we have had for the past 10 nights. This makes 11. It was a fine tag match. Kojima kills Gabriel Kidd with the lariat and gets the victory. And then we move on to the opening block match of the evening, and that is Ryusuke Taguchi versus Yuya Uemura, the young lion. This match, I don't have a ton to report on this match. I didn't write down a ton. It was fine, but it felt like something was missing from this match. There was no serious comedy from Taguchi. Taguchi won with an ankle lock. This match actually made Uemura look really weak, I thought, because really he did not get a ton in this match, and it just felt like Taguchi took most of it. I don't know what you thought about that match.
I didn't think of it that way. You're not. I mean, I don't know that you're wrong. It's just I just didn't even think of it that way. I was just kind of, they're having a basic, solid match that's good because Taguchi likely has had a hand in training Uemura, and they both have that fighting spirit and the wrestling DNA, so
I guess that could be a bit more of an explanation on why Taguchi had Uemura's number a lot more than any of the other competitors, because he has trained him and he knows everything that Uemura knows. And knows what Uemura can do. That's the only reason I could reasonable explanation of why Taguchi basically beat the crap out of this kid when Uemura got farther with the champion than he did with Taguchi.
Yeah, well, and you're right, and that was the way that I saw the match. Uemura got a comeback and looked awesome, but fell to the coaches, and he fell to the coach's top hold, the ankle lock that he only kind of uses for important occasions. And then you see Taguchi, he gets down and leans down and talks to Uemura for several seconds. You can tell he's being a coach and praising him and giving him advice. So I thought it was nice, but I read this match a completely different way.
All right. Move on. We have Douki versus El Desperado. They start off with some chain wrestling. They fight to the outside. Desperado pushes down the ref. So I praised him in the last match that he had the subtle distraction. This time, not so subtle. He pushed down the ref. He grabs Douki's pipe. He goes to hit Douki with it, but Desperado gets kicked in the gut and he drops the pipe, and then Douki grabs it. He hits Desperado with it, chokes him with it, and then runs Desperado into the barricade. Kevin voices here what I was thinking. What other sport can you touch the ref and it is not a DQ? Kevin Kelly mentioned that during this match. Douki in control for a bit until Desperado attacks the knee. Douki escapes a numero dos attempt. He gets to the ropes, short strike exchange, and then Desperado just kicks him right in the knee again. Desperado puts on a numero dos once again. Douki to the ropes. Back and forth we go for a while. Douki puts on the Douki Choki. I'm just going to giggle every time I say that now. Desperado gets to the ropes out of that. Desperado catches the slingshot DDT from Douki. They fight on the apron. Douki gives Desperado a huge monkey flip. He lands right on the edge of the apron. Douki hits a dive off the top rope to the floor. This time, Desperado, as opposed to Master Wato, did provide a bit better of a catch, and he didn't go crashing ass first to the floor. Slingshot DDT back in the ring for a 2 count, and then Desperado sunset flips into a numero dos, and he wraps up Douki's arms as well, so he can't go anywhere, and Douki has to submit. I like how Desperado ties up the arms as well in that stretch muffler, the numero dos, and he has to get a verbal submission. That's just like salt in the wound from any of the guys that he submits. It's great.
Yeah, so, they're friends, but it's Douki and Desperado, so they're both working heel against each other. And it was fun. Man, Douki gave Despy a monkey flip on the ring apron, and Despy took it and fucking died. And then Douki hit that crazy suicide dive to the floor where he's... Douki's crazy, and Desperado, these are two guys who have both been, low-key become highlights of this tournament, and working at an entertaining heel match against each other, and I thought it was very good.
Yeah, one of the few intra-faction matches here with them both being in Suzuki-gun. The only other two people who are also in the same faction, that is... Oh, actually, no, we have Bushi and Hiromu, and we have Robbie Eagles and Sho. They're also in the same factions, but they didn't seem to... Have they even fought yet? I can't remember.
Yeah, that match was awesome.
Yes, Robbie Eagles and Sho did, and I remember they bumped fists before they started. So it was a bit more of a gentleman's agreement on that one, whereas this one, they're both heels, and they're like, screw it, I'm just going to do whatever I do, even that's how it is.
The opposite of a gentleman's agreement.
Right. Well, I guess it technically could be a gentleman's agreement, saying that we're just going to do whatever, and at the end of the night, then we'll shake hands again, I guess. I don't know. Next up, we had Sho versus Master Wato. A lot of back and forth in this match, both guys showing off their kicks. We have a corkscrew dive to the floor from Master Wato. We get a spear from Sho. Sho works the arm. Master Wato misses a corkscrew off the top. Lots of strikes here. Flying knee from Sho. 2 hig kicks from Wato. A massive lariat from Sho coming back. He hits the last ride power breaker for a 2 count, and then goes right into hitting a shock arrow, and Sho gets the win. And something I wrote right here, he didn't use the straitjacket pile driver as a set up to the shock arrow here, and that's the first person he's defeated by not using it. Is this a little kick to Wato, or is it just how it happened? I don't know.
I think that little things like that in finishes count. and so it may be, if it tells you something, I think the intention is to tell you that.
All right, that's just something I noticed because he just went straight from the power breaker to the shock arrow, skipping the straight jacket pile driver that he's used on everybody else. Next up, we had Bushi versus Taiji Ishimori. So, as I mentioned at the beginning of this show, I didn't write down a ton for a lot of these matches here, the first 4 matches, because they just, I don't know, there wasn't anything that was huge in them. And here we have Bushi versus Taiji Ishimori, Ishimori being the current champion. Bushi attacks Ishimori while he's being introduced with a drop kick, but it fails to help since Ishimori just beats down Bushi on the outside. He keeps beating him down in the ring, working the shoulder. Bushi makes a short comeback, including a dive, but back in the ring, Ishimori takes it back, gets on the yes lock, but has to let it go when Bushi gets to the ropes. He gets it back and hits a shoulder breaker back into the yes lock. Once again, he's got to let that go. And then hanging DDT to the apron to Ishimori. Bushi hits a destroyer, but then we have Ishimori coming back, putting on the yes lock, and Bushi has to submit. Really not a ton happened in this match, I didn't feel like.
Yeah, man. I just noted that Bushi can be kind of hit or miss for me, but he hit in this match. And Ishimori is awesome. So they had a very good match. And otherwise, all I wrote was that Bushi at one point did an absolutely wild-looking avalanche-style Frankensteiner, which I remember it was kind of a half rope walk jump thing, avalanche Frankensteiner that was crazy looking. And then they did some moves when Ishimori won with the yes lock, and it was very good. And yeah, then we moved on to something fucking great: Robbie Eagles versus Hiromu Takahashi.
Next match, Robbie Eagles versus Hiromu Takahashi. They start off with a nice chain sequence, tons of reversals. Eagles hits a flip dive between the ropes once again. It's pretty much worked out to be a cannonball because he landed full weight into Hiromu on this one. Hiromu hits an apron bomb. It looked like he was going to go for a sunset bomb, but the barricade was so damn close, he would have hit the back of the neck. He would decapitate the guy. Did you see the young lions trying to push the barricade back?
Talked about the barricade that they're, normally they wouldn't be there for the best of the Super Juniors, but because of COVID they have to be, so it changes the dynamic, gives them less space to fly.
Yeah, the young lions were scrambling to push it back to make space if he was actually going to do the sunset bomb, so they didn't kill Robbie Eagles. Eagles comes back in. They hit some forearm springboard drop kick to the knee. So early on, he's already going after the knee. Forearm to the back of the head. He hit a 619 springboard forearm to the back of the head for a 2 count. On the outside, Hiromu hits the shotgun drop kick, sending Eagles into the barricade. Back in the ring, Hiromu hits a Falcon Arrow for a 2 count. Eagles continues to work the knee, goes for a 450. Hiromu gets his legs up, but it also hurt him as well. They have a striking exchange, overhead throw into the corner from Hiromu, hits a dynamite plunger for a 2 count. Eagles avoids a time bomb, gets a close 2 count on a roll-up. Eagles chop blocks the knee. Hiromu hits 2 super kicks in a row. Eagles escapes a time bomb, and he lands out on the apron. And Hiromu goes for a sunset bomb, but when he lands, his knee gives out. Eagles hits a thrust kick to the knee. Hiromu blocks a sliced bread attempt while they're out on the apron. They fight on the apron, and then Eagles hits a turbo backpack on the edge of the apron. Hiromu barely makes the 20 count right at the 20-minute mark. And then Eagles goes up top. Hiromu follows. Eagles hits basically a super sliced bread off the top rope for a 2 count. Cradle attempt from Hiromu. Eagles kicks the leg, locks in the Ron Miller special. Eagles pulls Hiromu away from the ropes. I thought that was going to be the end, but Hiromu continues to struggle, and he does make it to the ropes. Hiromu tries for a time bomb but when he gets Eagles up on his shoulders, his knee just buckles underneath him. They go back and forth for a little bit. Hiromu manages to power through and hit a time bomb and gets the 3 count. And at this point, Robbie Eagles has been mathematically eliminated, but has been the star of the best of the Super Juniors, I think.
And I didn't think that Robbie was much of a threat to make the finals, but it just hurt to see him mathematically eliminated because he's been so incredible during this tournament, man. This was just a beautiful piece of professional wrestling, man. Robbie Eagles moves so well and just so perfectly embodies the white knee baby face. And my God, I'm sorry. I was looking at my phone for a second. Did you note the near fall? That was the callback to the tag match last year.
I did not.
Okay, so last year in Hiromu's first match back, it was a tag match at Corkin Hall. I think it was Hiromu and either Bushi or Shingo against Ospreay and Eagles, and Eagles pinned Hiromu with the jackknife hold. So here we are almost a year later in a singles match at the main event at Corkin Hall in the Best of the Super Junior, and Eagles. It was in the same building. It was in Corkin Hall. Same building a year later, same spot. One of those real tight, close New Japan near falls. Oh my God. That was an incredible near fall. And
yeah,
then,
I probably wrote down the near fall, but I didn't realize it was a callback.
Yeah, it was, and that made it so much more awesome.
But yeah, this was the match of either tournament so far, I thought.
A little thing, because all of this stuff matters. Hiromu saw Robbie as enough of a threat that he didn't just use Time Bomb, he used Time Bomb 2.
Oh, I didn't notice that.
Yeah.
Okay. That's the one where he kind of swings him around the back first before going down on the time. Okay. Yeah,
that is the more, within the internal logic of professional wrestling, that is the more devastating maneuver.
All right, so good to know. But yeah, solid match here. Robbie Eagles stand out in the Best of the Super Juniors so far. Hopefully he has a big 2021 going for him going forward, assuming he's staying full time with New Japan.
I hope so.
I don't know. Does he just? I know he's from Australia, but does he also reside in Australia?
I think so, as far as I know.
So it's a quick plane ride for him. It's not like he's going across the Pacific every time.
Yeah, and that may be his, that may work better for him that he wants to stay in Japan. But if I was Tony Khan,
yeah,
I would make that happen.
I would try to at least.
I would try to make that happen. Robbie Eagles is great.
Yeah. We already lost Jeff Cobb to New Japan. Imagine Jeff Cobb in AEW. Then we move on to night 12, back to World Tag League action, continuing on in Korakuen Hall in Tokyo. And once again, Tomoaki Honma and Satoshi Kojima versus, this time, Yota Tsuji versus Yuji Nagata.
I wrote "say the thing again."
Fine match. Tsuji killed.
Tsuji.
Jeff Cobb and a Great Khan on the Cobb versus Evil and Yujiro Takahashi. Cobb and Khan beat the crap out of Yujiro for quite some time. Yujiro then sends Khan to the outside at one point where Evil hits him with some chairs while the ref is being distracted by Yujiro. And also at the same time, Dick Togo was removing a corner pad. Cobb comes over to help, and Togo actually hits him from behind, and Cobb basically no-sells it like a fly landed on him. But when he turns around, Evil hits him with a chair as well, which takes him out for a decent length of time. Back in the ring, Khan gets thrown into the exposed turnbuckle. Evil and Yujiro continue getting the heat on Khan. Cobb gets a tag, and he just runs over Yujiro, hits a running side suplex for a 2 count, and then Yujiro bites Cobb's hand. He hits a drop kick and an Olympic slam on Cobb for a 2 count. And then Togo makes a distraction, and Yujiro grabs his walking stick and hits Cobb in the head with it. Khan makes the save. He saves Cobb from a pimp juice. Evil saves Yujiro from the claw. Evil pulls the ref, and Togo chokes Khan out on the edge of the ring, and then Khan throws Evil into Togo, and then Yujiro into Evil, who both end up on the floor, and then he sends Yujiro into Cobb, who hits Tour of the Islands on Yujiro and gets the pin. Bit of a sloppy finish here, but it worked out. Yujiro and Evil lost, and that's always a plus in my book.
Yeah. I'm not sure if Yujiro is better lately, or if I'm just so sick of Evil that I'm relieved to watch Yujiro. Kevin Kelly said on commentary that Evil had never tagged into the match and wondered if Evil might have an injury. Evil, he did tag in briefly once.
Correct.
But he barely did anything.
Correct.
So the deal with the finish was the last night in G1, Yujiro beat Cobb when he hit him with the cane and then hit Pimp Juice. So here he hit him with the cane and he went for Pimp Juice, but this time Cobb's partner, the Great Okan, made the save, and then very shortly thereafter, Cobb was able to hit Yujiro with the Tour of the Islands and avenge the most humiliating G1 loss on his record.
So at the end of this match, we have Khan and Cobb sitting at 8 points, and Evil and Takahashi sitting at 6 points. So I think they are on the bubble, and if they lose one more, they are definitely eliminated. If they're not already eliminated from losing this match.
I am so bad about keeping up with the standings.
All right, next up, we move on to Bad Luck Fale and Chase Owens versus Hirooki Goto and Yoshi-Hashi. Fale and Chase attack from behind before Goto even gets announced. Chase and Fale get the heat on Goto until Yoshi-Hashi gets a kick. Not sure what I was writing here. Not sure. Maybe he got a tag. Yoshi-Hashi's comeback is short-lived, though. Goto has a short-lived comeback as well when he gets a tag. Yoshi-Hashi saves Goto from the grenade launcher, and they take out Fale, and they hit the GYW on Chase. And that's all she wrote. Yoshi-Hashi and Goto get the 2 points, and I believe that mathematically eliminates Chase and Fale at this point because they only have 4 points, so they are definitely out of the running now.
I believe this match was good. Goto and Yoshi-Hashi are an awesome team.
It was really short.
8 minutes.
Yeah, I think it was the shortest match on this card.
Fale did an effective job of being Fale
in
this match. This was not the shortest match.
The young lion was...
Okay, I was just looking at the times and not the matches. Yeah. I'm sorry. You're right. What is the GYW as opposed to the GYR? I wasn't sure about that.
The GYR is the guy is face down, and the GYW he is looking up.
Okay, so if GYR is Goto Yoshi-Hashi Revolution, what is it
Goto
Yoshi-Hashi Win?
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know what the W stands for.
Maybe it's Goto Yoshi-Hashi Win. I'll ask Kevin Kelly on Twitter.
All right, cool. Or Google might have the answer. Not sure. Next up, we have Hiroshi Tanahashi and Toa Hanare versus Toriano and Tomohiro Ishii. Hanare and Ishii have a bit of a hoss fight to actually start off this match, and Hanare actually gets the best of Ishii, dropping him with a shoulder tackle. We get a little double teaming from Tanahashi and Hanare on Ishii and Yano with the wishbone, the wishbone crab. Ishii turns it around, though. Yano gets tagged in and eventually gets wiped out by Hanare. And then Tanahashi gets a tag and works Yano. He knocks Ishii off the apron for good measure. Dragon Screw Somersault Senton onto Yano for a 2 count. And then Ishii and Tanahashi have a bit of a back and forth. Hanare gets tagged in, works with Ishii. He hits a Samoan drop, and then Hanare and Tanahashi try for some double team, but Yano trips Tanahashi when he goes to hit the ropes, pulls him out of the ring. Yano and Ishii hit some double team on Hanare. Then Yano gets sent into the exposed turnbuckle that he himself had exposed. Hanare hits a diving shoulder tackle off the top rope onto Ishii, who pops right back up and hits a shoulder tackle of his own. Hanare pops right back up, and then Ishii drops Hanare with a strike. Yano tries to catapult Hanare into the exposed turnbuckle. Tanahashi runs in and puts his body between him and the turnbuckle for the save. And then Yano actually comes in to try to do a splash, but they both move out of the way. Yano goes in the turnbuckle under his own power. Hanare and Tanahashi double team Ishii, and then Tanahashi drops Ishii with a sling blade. Hanare hits a huge driving spear for a 2 count, and then Ishii avoids a Toa bottom and eats another spear, and we have Yano he has to break up the pin. We have all 4 guys coming in and fighting. Yano hits a belly-to-belly suplex on Hanare. Ishii hits a sliding lariat. Tanahashi has to break up that pin attempt. And then Yano and Tanahashi end up fighting on the outside while Ishii hits a huge lariat for a 2 count. Hanare fights out of a brainbuster attempt. They exchange headbutts. Ishii gets out of another Toa bottom attempt. Ishii hits the vertical drop brainbuster and gets the pin. Again, Hanare eats the pin, but looked amazing in this match. Ishii let him take him down multiple times from some shoulder blocks, him being usually the brick house right there, where this time Hanare kind of found the formula to bring it to Ishii, but just couldn't get the full answer.
So my main takeaway from this match is that I need to see an Ishii versus Hanare singles match. So that better happen, I don't know, New Japan Cup or at the latest next year in the G1. I need Ishii versus Hanare.
Yeah, I would love to see Hanare in the G1 this year. So, I mean, there's so many people that we can move into the G1 this year that I would love to see. Obviously, Finlay and Hanare being at the top of my list of people I really want to see in the G1.
Yes, absolutely.
But solid match. Do you like this match? I thought it was really good.
I liked this match very much.
Yeah, so this card, Night 12, I thought had 3 solid matches in a row. I think it's the first card that had 3 really good matches in a row. I didn't have tons of complaints about the next 2.
Yeah, I need to rewatch the last match because I was trying to finish it right before we recorded and I was getting distracted during this match. So the semi-main, oh my god, I loved it. Recap it and then I'll tell you how much I loved it.
Yeah, Guerrillas of Destiny versus Sanada and Shingo Takagi. And going into this match, hold on, let me see what the point structure was here. Going into this match, we had Guerrillas of Destiny at 6 points and Sanada and Shingo sitting at 8 points going into the start. And Shingo and Sanada tag in and out, working over Tama Tonga. Really high speed sequences from Tama Tonga and Sanada. The two of them work great together. I kind of wish Tama Tonga was a singles at some point because he never works singles matches. But I'd love to see a singles match between Sanada and Tama Tonga because I think that would be really good. Like I said, really high speed. Of course, Jado gets involved and hits Sanada from behind the ref's back. So from here we have God getting a little heat on Sanada. A little bit of double teaming as well. Shingo gets in a tag, but he is cut off in short order. then he and Tanga Loa go back and forth with a really great sequence ending in a double clothesline, double down. Both of them get tags to their partners. So again, we have some more high-speed action from Sanada and Tama Tonga. Sanada hits a drop kick and then a crossbody to the floor. Shingo saves Sanada from a guerrilla warfare. Sanada and Shingo actually deliver a guerrilla warfare of their own, and when they do, Tama Tonga's knee drops right into Shingo's face, and he is seriously busted open really bad. He had to roll out a couple times to get some of the blood wiped away from his eye from the ringside doctor. God then hits guerrilla warfare on Sanada. Shingo comes in to break it up. And then Shingo gets hit with guerrilla warfare, gets hit with a magic killer. So he's sent back out to the outside. Sanada and Shingo, the magic killer on Sanada. Sanada kicks out at 2, so Jado calls for the super power bomb. They go for the super power bomb, and they put Sanada up on Tanga Loa's shoulders, but Sanada turns it around into a Rana off the top. Shingo accidentally pushes Tama Tonga into the ref, so Jado comes in. Shingo is unfazed by the kendo stick shot, and he drops Jado and takes out Tanga Loa as well. Tama Tonga avoids a skull end. They keep reversing each other's moves, where Sanada is going for a skull end, and Tama Tonga is going for a, I forget what he calls it.
That's fun.
No, the one where he has him under in like the skull end position, and it's a twist.
Tonga twist.
Tonga twist. And then so they keep reversing from skull end to Tonga twist, skull end to Tonga twist. And then Tanga Loa grabs the ref to cause a distraction, and Jado hits Sanada in the back with the kendo stick. And then we have Tama Tonga hitting a gun stun and getting the pin. I thought this match was great. Kind of sucks that Shingo took a knee to the face and got busted open hard way right in the eye socket. Hopefully he's okay.
Yeah, man, I was just a glass case of emotion this entire match. My two teams that I most want to win the tournament, and one of them had to lose. So I just didn't know who to root for. It's like Shingo and Sanada are like my favorite team in the tournament, just from a work perspective. But also the me who loves booking and loves New Japan wants God to win the tournament because they deserve it, and because I feel like it's wrong that the Guerrillas of Destiny are not yet on the list of World Tag League champions. So yeah, these were all of the things that I was feeling while I watched this awesome match. I used to be kind of a hater on the Guerrillas of Destiny. I didn't think very much of them early on in their run as a team, but man, I have become a much bigger fan of the Guerrillas of Destiny lately.
Yeah, I've been a fan of theirs for about 2 years now at this point. I just love their stuff, and I kind of wish Tama Tonga steered back into the good bad guy bit a little bit more, because he's pretty damn funny. But and here he was pissed when it was over. He was cursing up a storm. He's like, "This is fucking bullshit." You could hear across the camera. He's always pretty funny, especially with all the stuff that he says. Yeah, that no cursing in English rule got knocked out pretty quick last year when they made that rule. It lasted about 2 weeks.
And is that another casualty of Hiromu being gone too?
Yeah, well, I think he was the one who declared it, and then it by the time whatever tournament they were doing, I think it was the last year's World Tag League, when he would always yell something into the camera, and Fale too. They would both swear into the camera. They both drop F-bombs all the time. But that lasted like a month, if that, and then and people went back to doing it. I mean, Makabe swears up a storm in English when he's fighting. So, next up, we have another really good match, and this is last year's winners of the World Tag League against the current heavyweight tag champions. This is Juice Robinson and David Finlay versus Zack Sabre Jr. and Taichi. Finlay and Zack Sabre Jr. started off with some technical mat work, something you usually don't see out of Finlay. I kind of want to see a Zack Sabre Jr. Finlay match now.
Yes, please.
Tags in and out from Juice and Finlay, working together very well, working over Zack. Taichi eventually just gets all worked up and frustrated, and he's like, screw it, and he runs in and helps. And at this point, Zack and he trade places without ever having tagged. I don't know if I did. Yeah. So I don't know if. Yeah. So anyways, because I noticed this is the point when they started doing the standing on the dude's neck. Red Shows being the crappiest ref of all time, doing 5 counts, but stopping at 4, even though the infraction hadn't stopped. Taichi continues to choke Juice over and over. No DQ. I'm going to continue to harp on this until it stops. Does anyone have the ear of New Japan and can tell them that, hey, this reffing situation is really making things bad?
Oh, I wish somebody would tell them.
All right. Well, we'll both ping Kevin Kelly later. Finally, he gets a Finlay. I always type finally instead of Finlay, so I need to realize that's Finlay. Finlay gets a hot tag, takes it to Taichi until Zack Sabre Jr. comes in to help, and the Dangerous Techers work on Finlay on the outside, works his surgically repaired shoulder, which is the first time any team has actually targeted the shoulder, which was the reason he was out for quite a long time, running up to this event or to this tournament. They get the heat on Finlay for quite some time, continuing to attack that shoulder. Finally, I wrote it again. Finlay hits a desperation suplex and gets the hot tag to Juice. I think it must autocorrect if I switch around the letters.
Maybe Finlay finally hit a desperation suplex.
Yeah. It could just be my dyslexic typing because I'm usually not reading what I'm typing. I'm usually watching and just typing. So sometimes I get that'll happen all the time. Juice runs wild, takes out both guys, senton on Taichi, spine buster on Zack, full Nelson bomb on Taichi, sit out clothesline on Zack, and then Juice and Finlay start to make a comeback. The Dangerous Techers cut them off with some double team, and Finlay helps Juice turn things around once again, with Juice and Zack being the legal men. Taichi breaks up a Doomsday Device attempt. Juice and Zack go back and forth to a double down. Finlay gets the tag in before Zack can get to his corner, but Zack hits a shot to Finlay's shoulder, and then he does actually end up getting the tag. Finlay and Taichi stand and trade. Everyone gets their stuff in a 4-way breakdown. Saito suplex to Finlay for a 2 count, and then we have a quadruple down. Finlay escapes a Black Mephisto. Juice hits a left-handed god on Taichi. Finlay hits a stunner. Juice hits a Pulp Friction. Finlay hits an acid drop, while at the same time Juice takes out Zack with a Pulp Friction. And Finlay covers Taichi for the pin. And Juice have pinned the current tag champions.
So you made it sound great, and it just makes me. I'm gonna go back and watch it because I didn't really get. I was kind of distracted, but yeah, you made it sound good, and I don't doubt that it's very good. I'm certain that I will like it when I rewatch it.
Yeah, this was an excellent match. They had some interesting breakdowns from the Dangerous Techers, where the guy on the outside was just frustrated with his partner getting beat up, so he's like, screw it, I'm running in and taking control of things. Screw it if the ref is in my way or not. So yeah, pretty good here. And just that ending with the left-handed god, a stunner, Pulp Friction and then an acid drop to Taichi to get the pin. And at the same time, Juice hit Pulp Friction on Zack when the acid drop was going down. So good way to take out Zack. So he had no chance of taking breaking up the cover.
Yes. These were some very fun cards. There's there's things here and there that, did not work for me, but, everything is not going to be perfect all the time. But overall, man, this has been a very entertaining tour. Two distinct and very entertaining tournaments.
Yeah, so now let's talk about kind of the standings here at the end of night 12. We have a massive traffic jam here in the tag division. We have Finley and Juice Robinson, the Dangerous Techers, Sanada and Shingo, Gorillas of Destiny, Yoshi-Hashi and Hirooki Goto, Cobb and Khan, all at 8 points. So we have was that 5 teams, I think I just said? 5 teams, 6 teams. 6 teams all sitting at 8 points. We have 1 team sitting at 10, which is Toru Yano and Tomohiro Ishii sitting on top of the block with 10 points. So we have that. What?
Tag team champions. Former IWGP Tag Team Champions, man.
So we have Chase Owens and Bad Luck Fale sitting at 4, so they are eliminated. We have Yujiro and Evil sitting at 6 points. I believe they're on the edge of being eliminated if they are not already. And then we also have who is the last team? Hanare and Tanahashi. They have only won 1 match, so they only have 2 points, so they've been eliminated for quite some time at this point. Yeah. So huge traffic jam with 6 teams sitting at 8 points, 1 at 10 points. So it's kind of anybody's ball game at this point at the end of night 12. And just heading over, let's talk about the Super Juniors as well, because I believe we have roughly the same traffic jam going on there. We have Hiromu and Taiji Ishimori tied at 10 points. Then we have Sho, Wato, Desperado, sitting at 8 points. So not as big of a field sitting kind of on top of the block. Those 5 guys are probably, one of those 5 is probably going to be the victor, because I think everybody else is near or is eliminated. Taguchi has 6 points, so I think he is almost eliminated. Same with Bushi. And then, of course, Robbie Eagles got eliminated after this match, dropping to 4 points, and Yuya Uemura has 0 points, so he's been out of the running for a while.
I'm not sure of the totals, but I am quite certain that Kojima and Tomoaki Honma are winning the C block.
Well, it's been 12 nights, so they have 24 points to 0.
Yeah, man. Why aren't they getting the tag title shot, man? What a streak. Goldberg and New Japan tag teams, man.
Right. So yeah, I don't actually. Hama and Kojima were not on night 1, and I think it was a different tag match on night 2. So that it might be 10 shows in a row they've had this. But anyways,
yeah.
So far so good. I mean, we have Hiromu and Ishimori sitting at top. I mean, you would think Ishimori is going to be at least near the top, but just come in under because he is the current champion, which is kind of how it goes every. Oh, they're calling the Yes Lock the Bone Lock.
Huh.
It's the same exact move. Though isn't like Game Over basically like the S-Lock as well?
Yes.
So we have the same move being called a few different things, but not a big deal.
They both, Ishimori and Kenta, both stole it from Bryan Danielson, which Kenta and Danielson are like, they love each other and work together back in the day, and it's kind of like Danielson stole the running knee from Kenta, so Kenta stole the slot from Danielson. But like they're friends about it,
Sometime I just want to see Danielson use the GTS just for giggles. But yeah, anything you want to cover before we wrap it up here? I don't know what your schedule is like. I'm hoping to get through so we can work on Tuesday, so we can kind of get up to speed here.
Yeah, let me think. So
I know you have classes, but
two, well, not really. I've just got the classes are done. It's just finishing up the semester. Looks like so the second and the fourth are up, and then the
today is the
block
fifth.
finals are in a few hours. So, do we want to get? Do we want to do on Tuesday the next 3 shows and then do the final time, or
let's see how it works out. Maybe we'll cover the last 4, including the block finals, on Wednesday or Thursday, either after the AEW podcast. Before we gotta do the finals before the actual finals.
Yeah.
So we'll be up to date. So if you're on the YouTube, or if you're listening to this podcast, head over to the YouTube channel, because once we schedule it, it will let you know when we are going live, so you can come see it. Sorry, the Dynamite post show hit the podcast feed late because I forgot to hit record, and YouTube takes forever to process so you can download it. But I did get it up the following morning.
I have to cover one other thing. Go to my Twitter at Wrestling Cleo, and I'll retweet it again. Somebody made a video called "A Brief History of Tony Schiavone Announcing the Arrival of Sting," and it is pure wrestling happiness in a little 1.5-minute video.
All right, yeah, that's at Wrestling Cleo, CLIO. The handle is in the show notes as well, so you can go check that out. But yeah, that should be a good one.
Yes.
Yeah, so I am looking forward to wrapping this up. We also have the New Japan Cup, or the what's it called? Also on the 12th coming up.
J-Cup.
The J-Cup, the Super J-Cup. Yeah, so that.
Oh yeah, so yeah, maybe we can do the Super Junior Finals and the J-Cup, and
yeah, next week.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that should be a good one. And then we kind of wind down a little bit, going into Wrestle Kingdom is kind of the next big thing after that. So yeah, it's going to be interesting. And I'm curious how they schedule next year, because usually Best of the Super Juniors is March-ish. So now with them doing Super Juniors this late in the year, what are they going to go with their normal schedule, or are they going to move things around again?
It's typically May and June for Super Junior, so I think if they doing it in May, it'll be
yeah, I'm thinking, what's the tournament they usually do in March?
New Japan Cup.
New Japan Cup, okay.
Which they did in June and July of this year.
Okay, so maybe they'll do that, yeah.
They've released a partial schedule. There's no Fantastica Mania this year, obviously, because of COVID. So the New Beginning tour, there is they don't have the traditional big show in Sapporo. They have a New Beginning in I think it's probably at the Dolphins Arena in Nagoya, but they haven't announced anything beyond that. So I have previously predicted, because there's got to be something significant happening in February. And there was the tease during one of the nights of the G1 where Naito teased something big coming for Osaka, and I said at the time. So I'm thinking that February might be the Osaka Dome.
Okay. Yeah, interesting. They're doing New Year's Dash in the Tokyo Dome City Hall instead of Korakuen Hall.
Well, they did it at the Old Award Gymnasium last year because of the, it's just more people wanting to come. But I assume, I don't know what that arena size is compared to the other one, but at Korakuen Hall, if you want, what are they up to as far as capacity now? Like 60 maybe
for the Tokyo Dome,
or just in general, just in Japan. Like as far as how full they are allowed to have the buildings.
I think 50%.
Yeah. Yes. I don't know, but it's probably just a way to try to get more people in for New Year's Dash.
Yeah, so I'm curious how that plays out. The entertainment complex. I don't have the website right here, but I'll have to check it out.
I got it. Part of Tokyo Dome. It's part of the Tokyo Dome complex where the Tokyo Dome and Cork and Hall and all that stuff is.
I'm assuming it's kind of like what Daly's place is to the Jaguars Stadium, kind of.
Probably something like that.
All right, so yeah, I'm guessing the capacity is probably, I don't know, maybe 2,000 with the 50%, probably maybe 4,000 for a normal if they're not going to Kurikan Hall, because Kurikan Hall is what, like 2,300 normal, only like 1,200 with the 50% capacity, or 1,000 with the 50%. Yeah. So cool. All right, so that should be a good one. So is that it for you?
Yeah, man, that's it for me.
All right, thanks everybody for tuning into That's Wrestling. Be sure to follow Trae over on Twitter, at Wrestling Cleo. The link is in the show notes, or the handle is in the show notes. If you have any comments, questions, feedback, you can send those to Eric at that'swrestling.com. You can follow us on Twitter at that'swrestling1 with the number 1 at the end. The link is also in the show notes. There's a Discord, link is in the show notes. If you want to give us a review on your podcast app of choice, that would be great. If you can't find us on your favorite podcast app, shoot me an email, because I'm pretty sure I'm on pretty much every big one. I've seen downloads from at least 60 different distributors at this point, so it should be on your podcast app, unless it's like Pandora, or we're probably kicked off of iHeartRadio because we have too many explicit episodes. It's okay. What else? Shirts are available if you want to head over to teespring.com/store/that's-wrestling. Those will be at cost through the end of the year if you are interested. And I think that is it. Head over to the YouTube channel and subscribe if you haven't, and we'll see you next time on That's Wrestling. See you later, guys.
Bye.